There we go. Turn this thing on. Turn this mic on, right? So it's our check in, everybody. This is our check in, the fast of Esther check in. Just want to check in to see how everyone is doing on our fast. This is day two. This is day two, and it's lunchtime. So I have pineapples, on this fast. It's a liquid fast, but then also, if you feel like you have to chomp on something, salad, fruit, preferably watermelon, um, but just fruit. I'm eating a pineapple, and it's more so because I went to the when I went to the store yesterday to get a watermelon. They just had seedless watermelons, and I like seeded watermelons. Like I don't mind spitting out the seeds. Fruit is supposed to have seeds, so that part. Uh, so instead of trying to try my hand at Aldi to see if maybe they had some seeded watermelons, they usually don't get watermelons until the season that you're supposed to have them. So I didn't even try to do that. I just said, well, I'll just go ahead and grab this pineapple. So I'm eating pineapple right now. Mm, and it's good. It's good. Okay. So I want to grab something real quick. I'm going to drop this in the chat. Let me see if I can pull this up on here. Are you going back up yet? I'm sorry, I'm checking on my trades too. I was looking for some. Yep, there. Oh, okay. Nice. It's up there. All right. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Um, yeah, checking in on my trades. I saw that we were going in for a sale, so I went on and hopped in it, got out of it, and now I am in the buy. So I went for the sale and the buy. We're headed back up there. So okay, that's wonderful. Now let me add this below this video. So for those of you who are on YouTube, you can check the description box under this video after the live stream stops. For those of you who are on Facebook, if you're on now, you can just drop a comment. I'm not seeing if you're on or not with the system that I'm on right now. But let me go here. I'm going into Facebook on my phone right now so that I can drop this in the comment section under this live stream. Okay, here we go. Under under this live stream. All right, I just dropped it. And I see it. It just popped up. I think I might go back and edit it too because it looks really um jumbled. Okay, there we go. So with the fast of Esther, I have to say this just like I said yesterday. Um, there are 2 to 3 fasts that the children of Israel, according to the scriptures, kept. Okay, 2 to 3. Why do I say 2 to 3? Because this one that we're doing now is it it's every leap week year. So it's like every 4 years. The next one wouldn't be until the year 2030. All right. 2030. If you want the information of why that is, I'm going to give you the Hebrew calendar. And that is the same calendar that Yahweh gave to Moses when they came up out of Egypt. We are doing things according to the scriptures and not our own imagination. Okay. So this particular fast, it's well, why was that? Why was Queen Esther, who her Hebrew name was Hadassah, she was the niece of Mordecai, because her parents, basically she was orphaned. They were taken into captivity again, and her parents died. So her older cousin Malachi, Mordecai, took her on and raised her. So when there was a call for a queen, because the king was basically about to put Vashti away, she didn't come when the king called. Let me take a bite of my pineapple real quick. She didn't come when the king called. Um, you can listen to the backstory with the I dropped the link in the comments. You can listen to it. Free audio book on YouTube, right? So what had happened was um when there was this call for new queen put out, Mordecai was like, "My niece the bomb." You know what I'm saying? She is a queen. So I'm taking you down here to this call. So took her down. There were other young women as well. And they went through there was a beautification process. So with that beautification process, it was about a year. And Yahweh, because Yahweh created her for this purpose, she had more favor. Yahweh had the favor on her that had favor with the I don't want to necessarily say that they were eunuchs, but they were the keepers of the women. So, they just gave her a little bit more favor. Let's just say that. Anyway, she was chosen to be the queen, when she was presented to the king. He was like, "Hey, you can have half, up to half of everything that I have." Right? So, boom, she was a queen. Well, um, they always hid who they were. They had to. All right. So anyway, fast forward one fine day, um, Hammond, that's his name, Hammond. He kind of like the king's right hand man, and he's going about doing what it is that he does. And, he's trying to get people to, reverence him, bow down to him, all of that. So that's just not what the children of Israel do, because it's against their law, right? I mean, Yahweh told them that you don't worship idols. This would be a semblance of idol worshiping. You don't worship idols or anything like that. So, bow down and give me reverence or whatever. And Mordecai didn't do it. So Hamar was ego tripping. So he had a little attitude about it. And so he went to the king, basically, saying like, "Hey, these Hebrew people, um, we need to do away with them because they're not giving the king obeisance and all of that." Was about him and his ego. So the king was like, "Well, I mean, do whatever it is that you need to do. You handle it. I got king business, so you take care of that." All right. So he did so. He did that. And he put out a decree. He put out a letter, a decree. It went through all out the province and everything, that they were basically going to annihilate the Hebrew nation. So when Mordecai got hold of that, he went to his cousin, which Hamar did not know that that was his cousin. He didn't even know that she was a Hebrew woman because she was what? Dressed in the Persian apparel. She even had took on the name Esther because her name was Hadassah. So he went to her and he's like, "Hey, did you know about this? This is what was going on." And so she said, "Oh, wow. Okay. Listen, this is what I need y'all to do. Fast." You know what I'm saying? Like, go back, tell our people, fast with me so that basically they could drive out this evil. Um, from a physical standpoint, I understand what fasting is all about. It happened to me. I was anywhere between the ages of 4 and 5, and I had a parasite infestation. I mean, I know that now, but as a child, I didn't know what was going on. I do remember my stomach hurting real bad, and I was in a lot of pain. And my parents took me to the hospital, which was right across the street from where we lived at that time, Providence. We lived across the street from Providence Hospital in the city, and in the city of Chicago. So I just remember that whole experience, being at the doctor and them trying to hold me down because they was trying to give me a shot in my bottom. I don't know what that was for, but that's what they was trying to do. And I was in hospital for a seemed to me that it was a while. And whatever the issue was, they did not resolve it. They couldn't resolve it. So I was back home, still had the issue, and I remember not eating what everybody else was eating. I remember drinking fluids, like I had to drink tea, I had to drink water, I had to drink broth, and the only thing that I could eat was a banana. It was bananas. So that's what I remember. The fruit was bananas and everything else was liquid. I thought my mama hated me, you know. So, just like, why everybody else eating fried chicken and I gotta drink water, that type of thing. So one fine day, we were we were where were we? We were picking up my sister from school because she I wasn't at Holy Angels at that time, but she was at Holy Angels. When I went to kindergarten, I was there at Holy Angels, but I was in a pre-K program somewhere on off of State Street or whatever. So mom came and got me, and then we went to pick up my sister from the school, and I just remember saying, like, "Mom, I got to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom." And when I did, the parasite, they just flushed out. They were out of my system, and I no longer had the stomach pain or whatever. And so I understand what fasting can do. Fasting drives out parasites. So, from a physical standpoint, you fast, it drives out parasites, it cuts any type of addiction and craving that you might have. And then it depends on the length of time too. Like some days, like this is a 3-day fast. Like according to the scriptures in the book of Esther, it says that it was that they fasted for 3 days. Okay. So this fast is for 3 days. Um, so there are 3-day fasts, there are 5-day fasts, 7-day fasts if you could tolerate it. If you've never fasted before, you want to ease your way up into it. Like the first time, maybe you just want to do 24 hours. You have to build your body's tolerance to do so. Okay. You don't want to just like you've never fasted before and then all of a sudden I'm going on a 40-day fast. Look, you are not Yahshua the Messiah, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. We are in him, or he's in us. His spirit is in us, but we are not him. Like, let's make that distinction. All right. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Um, you know, th- as far as food, I mean, not food, but nutrients, your nutrition. I don't want to say food because a lot of the things that we're eating today is not even food. I don't know what it is, but it's not food. But nutrients. We need, our bodies need to have nutrients, but there are other things that you can fast from for 40 days and 40 nights, which is really 40 days and 40 nights is a month and 10 days. When we break that down to what it really is in real time, it's 1 month and 10 days. All right. So if you've never fasted before, you want to build your tolerance level up to that. You can start with 24 hours. Even the intermittent fasting. The in, intermittent fasting is not, I don't know why we make a big deal out of it, because we well, I think we do. Unless you eat from the time you wake up, like from the time your feet hit the floor from your bed to the time you take your feet off the floor and get in the bed, then everybody um do intermittent fasting. 16 hours. Well, if you sleep for 8 hours, that's half the time. And then if you either don't eat for the first 8 hours after you wake up, or 8 hours before you go to bed, that's 16 hours right there, right? And then you have the rest of the day where you might snack or graze, right? Um of course, children need more food because they're what? They're growing, they're developing, their bodies, they need the nutrients. But as adults, we don't really need to eat as much. All right. So, I mean, in a 24-hour period, you take away the what? The 16 hours. How many hours do you have left, and how many meals are you going to eat in between? One, two, three. For the most part, our bodies are really craving water. We need either water because we're dehydrated, or our bodies are calling for the nutrients that it needs because it didn't get it from whatever so-called food that we ate. Let me say that again. Our bodies are still calling for nutrients because it wasn't in the food that we ate. All right. So So that's from a natural standpoint of what the fast does, as far as, driving parasites out your body, um, cutting any type of addiction that you may have from certain foodstuffs, sugars, or and when I say sugars, I'm talking about processed sugars, not natural sugars. And that's the reason why we're eating fruit, is because that's natural sugars, that because we need it. Our bodies need sugar, but it's the natural sugars. It's these processed sugars that we have a problem with, and it's addictive. It can be addictive, and then again, we're thinking that we're craving, I mean, not craving. We're thinking that we're hungry because we're having a craving, but there's a difference between a craving and a hunger response. And your hunger response, you can really feel it in your head. That's why it's like, oh my gosh, I got a headache. I need to eat something, right? So that part. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, driving out the parasites, driving out parasitic spiritual energies that are attempting to overtake your mind or your soul. My students always hear me say this. Soul, mind, and psyche are synonymous, is one and the same. So just like not Mordecai, but Haman, what he was attempting to do is have them bow down to him, right? And it's like, we can't do that. Like, it is against the very Elohim that we serve, he said that we are not supposed to be bowing down to folks and idol worshiping and stuff. And so now, if you have a problem with that, guess what you need to do? Um, you take that up with Yahweh, but I cannot, I will not. That's what Yahshua did. Remember when he fasted 40 days and 40 nights? What happened? Here comes the adversary or Satan tempting him with things, and then went and started tempting him on the scriptures. Oh, okay, so we're gonna take it to the scriptures. Well, guess what? It said in the scriptures that so Satan know them sent them those scriptures too. Okay, but still attempt to get you to, hey, I'll give you kingdoms and all the riches of it if you bow down and worship me. And he said, get thee behind me, Satan. So that was like a parasite trying to come into his mind to get him to bow down from what he knew within his own mind and within his own consciousness of what? The commandments of Yahweh Elohim. Like, we don't do that. No, right? And so he was, you can say he was like a parasite, you know. So it's like, let's fast so that we can be clear. And she wanted that so that we could be clear and have a clear answer, clarity on how to drive this evil out. And sure enough, using wisdom, I don't necessarily want to say cunning, but using clarity and wisdom, he basically, like, what the traps that he set for, and I mean, he had, listen, when I tell, just listen to the story. Listen to the story. Listen to what happened. But the traps that he set in order to get them, um have Mordecai basically beheaded at the stakes. He built his own trap for himself, you know. So that's what this fast is all about. But then right after the fast, because I'm just not gonna leave you with a fast. Why do I say this? Because Yahweh Elohim commanded us to keep the feast, to keep his feast. They keep these feasts in the heavens. What do you mean keeping the feast in the heavens? Are they up there eating? There are heavenly bodies. In Genesis chapter 1, verses 14 through 19, Yahweh said that he placed the sun and the moon and the stars in the heavens to keep days and times and seasons. So when we see the sun and the moon transiting throughout the I was going to say 12, but 13 constellations, and the planets that make their orbit in the solar system, 9 planets in the solar system making their transits throughout the constellation, it lets us know what time we are in. It's a universal time clock. All right. So there are certain, and this is the reason why he gave Moses this basically his timing and his calendar. And then even in the book of Enoch, it gives a more detailed account of, hey, uh these months, like this month has 29 days and this month have 30 days. So when we look at that according to, like, the let's just say with astrology, and I'm going to go with sidereal astrology. When I started studying astrology when I was like, what, 15 years old, I was studying Western astrology. Then I began to study, you know, different astrology systems. But then when I saw a certain system of astrology that was right on point with Yahweh's timing, I'm like, this is it right here. And then he even showed me, it's just these little things, or little signs, to where it lets me know, because we call it sidereal astrology, but if we really break down that word side real, just like the children of what is real. So this is the side that's real. Just like you have the children of Israel, right? is real. So, or Israel children, the children of Israel children. These are the children that is real of the Most High because they keep His commandments, just like you keep a good father's commandments. Your father teach you and raise you up, you know. And what happens if you don't, and it's not about, hey, do what I say, and it's not that, but it's I'm raising you in a way, and the good, the bad, and the indifferent. I'm telling you about all of these things to keep you from harm, you know, because I want you to live a good life and keep you from harm. And you're going to go out there, and these are the things that you will face. These, and there's adversity out there, and it is going to attempt to wear you down, and you have to know it and see it, right? So that when you do see it, you can just avoid it. But then some people get trapped up, and I say some people, me included, right? So that's what a good father does. That's what good parents do. Okay. So Yahweh gave them all of these things. He gave them this timing. He gave them the calendar so that they can keep certain things at certain times. So there were 7 feasts and 2 to 3 fasts, right? And like I said, this particular fast is only once every 4 years. Other than that, there are 2 fasts every year, and one is in July, and the is wait, let me make sure. One is in July and the other is in August. Hold on one second. All right, let me, because I will not be a false teacher. Being a false teacher means that you are giving out false information. And man, it's a that I'm just leave it at that, because there might be educators that get offended because there's a lot of false information that's being taught, and we think that it's truth, and it's not. It's not. So let me see. Fast July, August. Okay, I just wanted to be sure. I mean, I know, but I just wanted to be sure. But yeah, those 2 fasts are July and August. Look, the time when everybody is just barbecuing and feasting and everything. And it's not for a whole month, for the whole 2 months or whatever, but there's a fast in July, fast in August. But the rest of them are feasts. There are 7 feasts. And every month is not a feast to keep. That's the thing about it. But we do have a Passover feast that's coming up. 2 actually. There's one in April, and then there's one in May for the ones for for those who couldn't keep the first one. So there's that. Um and I'm not going to get information on that right now, but a there's a journal that'll be made available. Okay, so there's this calendar with all of the fast, all of the 2 fasts, the feast days, the calendar that Yahweh gave the children of Israel, and Enoch is he was given this, and it was just laid out. And I'm like, we need to really know and understand this, because I mean, just like you keep a regular calendar, everybody at the beginning of the year, or even before the year, um the Gregorian calendar year starts. What do? We go out and we get a calendar. Sometimes it's given to us, or sometimes you go buy one or whatever. But that calendar is so off. And it said in the book of Enoch that, man, it's like it basically said that man would mess up time so much to where we will be fasting in times that we should be feasting, and then we'll be feasting in times that we should be fasting. So when I got a hold of this book, I said, oh my gosh. And I can't even say that it was me, more so than the Holy Spirit said to me, "Make this calendar." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, okay. So I've been going, editing and editing and editing through this calendar. But now it's turning out to be a journal. So it will be made available for you to have, and it'll have all of these feast and fast days according to how Yahweh set up time. Because I've even like I have a Hebrew calendar that I got from off of a web. I'm not going to say the name of the site, but it's good information that they have on there. But when I downloaded this calendar and I compared it with how um Enoch was given the calendar, I said even this one is off. So those who are, following that always kept the feast days because that's how they came up and was brought up and all that, it's off. It's really off because it's being kept according to the Gregorian calendar, and it's not the same. It's not the same. Um the Hebrew calendar is a lunar one. It's lunar, and the everything else has been, off of the solar, and it's because in history they worship the sun. So it's solar worship or sun worship. And we're not worshiping the sun, the moon, and the stars. It's just like that would be like worshiping a watch. What do you use a watch for? What do you use the time on your clock for? Right? Just to know what time it is so that you could, so you have a destination to be at, right? And it's like, okay, let me go ahead and get ready so that I could leave on time so that I could be there on time, right? That's it. You're not sitting there bowing down and burning incense and doing a seance or whatever to the watch or the clock. You just peek at it to see, okay, my timing. Okay, my timing is good. Well, that's what the sun, moon, stars, planets are there for, to keep time. That's it. And the analog clocks, watches, all of that, it just derived from the first man-made like clock, which was a sundial. They put the sundial like in the middle of a town square, and when the sun would um have its do well, I would say when the sun do its rotation, but whether it's the sun or the earth or these days you got to find out what's going on because is science is science is behind a lot, but then it also discovers things a lot later. So by the time science catches up, it's like, man, we knew that 100 years ago. But it it's just one of those things. But so there's some things going on with that. But anyway, the sundial was put there in like a town center so that when the sun cast its shadow along that dial, it would basically show what time it was. That, it was like it was noonday, or it was 3 o'clock, or it was 6 o'clock, or it was 9 o'clock, or, you know, and then because we just continue to improve on technology, that went from an analog clock to um, when you would see those clocks and they have a bell. That just to let everybody know what time it was because they would ring that bell at certain hours. Maybe they rung it every hour, maybe they rung it every what, 3 hours, so that just let everybody know what time it was. And then look, more technology, you start having a personal watch, analog clock on your wall, and then it turned to digital. That's really what it was. But when you really look at it, like if you know anything about a birth chart and you see a birth chart and it has the 12 houses, right? It's basically a snapshot of the heavens. If you take that and you look at an analog clock, what do you have? You have 12 numbers on that clock, and you have a hour hand and a minute hand and a second hand. And that would be just like the sun and the moon and the stars having its transits and its rotations around in those certain, you know, numbers of areas to say, oh, it's 3 o'clock. And that's just like the sun and the moon and the planets moving around certain houses and saying, oh, this is what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? Just across the universe. And then of course your own personal chart, because everybody has their own personal timing as well, where you'll see that transpire through your personal or your natal chart on a sidereal side. So that's it. I don't want this to be too long because y'all know how I do, and I know how I do too. All right. So this was just a little check-in on how we're doing with our fast. And we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 3. Tomorrow's day 3 of the fast. But then after the fast, we have the feast. We have the feast of Esther. All right. So um after the fast, hold on, let me look at here. Okay, so our fast is from the 20th to the 22nd. Today is the 21st. And then the feast of Esther is the 23rd, 24th. All right. So, and coming off of this fast, you really want to make sure, and I'll talk about this tomorrow too when we do a check-in. We really want to um we don't want to go hard. I mean, we've been doing liquids and fruit and then not eating after sundown, right? And praying and asking for clarity and meditating and all of these things, right? So when we come into at the end of the feast and we're coming into, I mean, up the end of the fast and then coming to the feast on the 23rd and the 24th, well, what do we want to do? What menu do we want to have? You want to have and that's if you eat meat. That's just if you're a meat eater. Some people are not, and that's okay, right? So, uh if you like lamb, bison. They sell bison at Aldi, okay? That's like if you eat beef, do bison. Uh you said you just give you a veggie menu. So, anything, any vegetables, right? I mean, I love roasted vegetables, honey. I can eat roasted vegetables all day, every day. You could give me roasted vegetables and fruit, I will be fine. So lamb, bison, clean fish. Okay, clean fish. So salmon. I know some people don't like salmon, but whatever clean fish, just clean fish if you do that. And then roasted vegetables, um, a good bread, like a um, not leavened bread or bread with yeast. But go to the bakery. You can go to the bakery, ask for certain breads, ask them all about it. And you could just basically ask them, what bread do you have that doesn't have yeast? And they'll let you know what that is. Go ahead and get that bread. Get you some wine. Oh yes, yes. This is day 2. So yes, join us. So you can, like today, like if you start now, it's basically liquid fast. So it's water. All right. So you water, tea, preferably detox tea, but water, tea. If you drink any juice, just make it a, I'm not sure if you might have like a Pete's or somewhere where you can get the like juiced juice from fruits. I know that's what Pete's grocery store, they do it all the time. You walk in and they have their fruit section. That's my favorite section. And they have all types of fruit there. So I got watermelon juice. And that's because they didn't have a seeded watermelon. So I was like, let me get this watermelon juice. Um Salad. romaine lettuce, cucumbers, olives. And if you get yeah, put your get if you do juice, make it real fruit juice, not juice that has like tons of sugar in it, but real fruit juice. Um and you can eat a salad. And that salad, no dairy, no cheese or nothing like that in the salad. Romaine lettuce, olives, cucumber. If you want a tomato in there, you could put a tomato in there. And there's a hold on one second. I'm gonna go grab it real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. This is Ken's. Says Ken's Steakhouse is simply vinaigrette. Can you see that? Ken's simply vinaigrette, olive oil and vinegar, no artificial flavors, no artificial preservatives, no high fructose corn syrup. And of course, you always turn it over and read the ingredients because they'll have all of that splattered across the front. And then you don't read what's really in it. You know, I always read what I am putting in my body and on my body. I'm like, what is the ingredients? And if it's stuff that I can't pronounce, or I look it up. And my son has this app. I'm gonna ask him what that app is. And he he takes the app and he scans it, and it'll show you if it's if it's good, bad. So it's a lot of this stuff that we're like gung ho about, and we're like, oh yeah, because it's this and it's natural and it does this and that and so forth and so on and the other. And baby, you scan that stuff on that app and it's all terrible. I mean, terrible, terrible. And hold on a sec. I'm sitting up here monitoring this trade, and it is doing something else. I'm about to get out of this. Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and take profit. Take profit. I will do another re-entry. All right. Yeah, I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to lose no money on that on that trade. Okay. So this is look y'all I got glasses on. I got to do all this here or this right here. Um, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, distilled vinegar, water. It contains salt. Contains less than 2% of sugar, garlic, spice, um, garlic, spice, garland, garlic, onion juice powder, turmeric. That's what's in it. So, and this was like less than $3. I mean, I'm just telling you how much it is. It could have been $6 if I read the ingredients and I'm like, oh yeah, I still would have put it in my cart. But this is a good one if you want to use some salad dressing on it, like and just a light toss, not a whole. We not doing this here. Just a little light toss. But this one is good. It's called Ken's Steakhouse Simply Vinaigrette, and it says a family owned company, so that's good too. All right. And of course during the day, because hey, you're doing stuff, you're moving, you're working, all of that, really stay hydrated. And sundown. So we're done eating by sundown. Well, what do I say? Well, what's sundown? The reason why I say sundown is because you may be, I don't know, you may be on the West Coast, right? We live in different time zones. So I would say for the most part, let your cutoff time for eating be about 7 o'clock. Like between 6 and 7, shut off time. If you are if you feel like you're hungry, drink water, like drink. Oh, and broth. vegetable broth. I didn't forget about that. Vegetable broth. So vegetable broth. That's the fasting menu. But then also under this video, I did put it in the comment section. I think the menu was there. If not, I'll put it there. But I did put some things in the comment section too. Um oh, let me highlight this comment real quick before we get off, and then I'm about to hop off here for real because I do not want this to be an hour, and we're just about at 45 minutes. So Autumn says if anyone is in the south suburbs, Sunrise has yeast-free and dairy-free bread, bread of life or bread of heaven. And I am probably about 5 to 7 minutes away from Sunrise over here in what's that, Olympia Fields. So yep, I will go there and get that bread. Thank you for that information. I love when we can just share all the good information, right? So we can all excuse me, benefit from that. So that right there. So Sunrise has that. Okay. Yeah. I'm not too far from there. Yep. So when I go, I need to go up there and get me some more colloidal silver. I'm just about out. Yeah, my vitamins and all of that, certain things, if I don't order it off Amazon, I'm definitely down there if I want it like now. Okay. Yes. So that's it. That's our check-in for today. We'll check in tomorrow again around the same time, 12 noon. And just to see how you all are doing, how you're feeling with your fast. And then tomorrow we'll talk about more about this fast and our feast because we don't want to just leave people fasting. He said to keep the feast. All right. We keep the just like people keep these holidays, and I'm gonna call them commercial holidays. That's what I'm gonna say. Just like people keep commercial holidays, Yahweh Elohim said keep the feast because there were certain things that he did for the children of Israel, and these feasts are in remembrance of that, right? Like we are really celebrating things that the Elohim of this stellar universe did for his people. Where who are his people? His people that listen to the sound of his voice and are obedient to his voice to actually do what he said. That's pretty much it. So yeah, we're doing that, and you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. All right. Oh yeah. I'm with you on that. Yes, let's hit the farmers market. Honey, inbox me. Like inbox me now. All right. So you all have a great day. Peace.